In today's equity index futures markets, let's take a look at the S&P 500 future as the S&P 500 future going to new all-time highs today. Currently right around 34.27. That is a new all-time closing high. Now we did see a high of 34.2875, so just shy of 34.29. So again, we did see those S&P futures basically close at the highs of the day. And looking at the price action today, we are seeing the S&P futures now up 5 out of the last 6 trading sessions. So this upward momentum continues to maintain on the first day of trading for this week. And we basically saw all the equity index futures markets stronger today as well. So a good strong start for the week for most of the major averages. And looking at some of the trends, or some of the driving factors, I think you have to point at the strength overseas overnight. China realizing some nice strength in the equity markets. It rolled into Europe, and by this morning, we did see the U.S. Futures, the S&P 500 futures, significantly higher to start the day, and maintaining that level throughout the day, and really not giving up too much ground. And pretty flat across the board throughout the day, and then renewed strength late into the session, pushing these futures to new all-time highs. And I think another factor that's being priced in here is the stimulus measures are still floating around out there. I think the market anticipates that there's going to be further stimulus here in the next week or two. Counting on that, I think it's helping to propel the markets higher. Also, we have the Fed in focus later this week as they have their virtual Jackson Hole meeting, and the market, I think, is focused on that. And really the storyline around the COVID-19 pandemic is another thing that the markets, I think, slowly getting used to. And it appears that the trends that are currently in place, although not significantly shifting from week to week, at least it appears the market's getting a handle on it. The idea of the vaccine is going to come along here, at least help. There are other measures that are being introduced that appear to be helping to combat this virus, and therefore I think it's helping the markets, the equity markets, realize and focus on other things, particularly when you look at stimulus measures, liquidity provisions, and again, some strength across the globe. Looking at the trends in place, I want to point out that we are seeing a rotation today, as we did see the Dow futures have a nice strong day. So a little bit of a rotation again today in those industrial or value names, and not so much in the tech names, at least to start this week. And when you look at the futures as a whole, we are seeing the S&P futures and the NASDAQ futures at all-time highs. We did see the Dow futures reverse nicely today. Another strong day for the Dow futures, pushing them back up to the highest level since February. And I should say the Russell futures reversed today. After some selling pressure throughout the last couple of weeks, we had a nice strong day in the Russell futures to start this week as well.